In Iran's East Azerbaijan province, 130 kilometers from the city of Tabriz, in a narrow valley running from north to south of a well-cultivated plain opening towards Lake Urmia, lies a smaller city called Maragheh.
Maragheh was actually built on the banks of the river Sufi Char. Just like any other city that has a river flowing right through it, this river has added a lot to the attractions of the city.
This is why I chose this small bridge looking onto the river to begin our story this week about one of the hidden jewels of Iran, a city that dates back thousands of years. But as it turned out, we were not the only visitors caught by the natural beauty of the Sufi Char River and intrigued by the rich history of Maragheh.
So I've been lucky enough to live in Iran for almost 2 years now, and I've visited many of the major cities, but I'm really keen now to travel and to see much more.
As you know, ancient civilizations developed along rivers. So it is actually this beautiful river, Sufi Chai, that has become the cradle of civilization in this region, and the reason for the establishment of the city of Maragheh, which according to historical documents dates back to the Parthian Empire, something I will tell you more about next week. The river flows from the southern slopes of Mount Sahand to reach Lake Urmia. Trouts are abundant in the river, on which 2 bridges have been constructed. Although Maragheh is an ancient city that dates back thousands of years, its more recent history has made it famous worldwide. Today, the city has a population of nearly 200,000 people, most of whom are Iranian Azerbaijanis, who speak the Azerbaijani language.
During the reign of Hulaku Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, Maragheh became the capital of the Ilkhanate, which is why the main museum of the city focuses on this particular period of Iranian history.
Although the Mongol conquest of Iran and the establishment of the Ilkhans initially brought devastation and affected the balance of artistic production, in a short period of time it also led to an environment of tremendous cultural exchange. Decorative arts, textiles, pottery, metalwork, jewelry, and the illumination of religious texts became a major focus of artistic production. New ideas and motifs were introduced into the repertoire of the Muslim artists in Iran, whose works were often sponsored by the court.
شاخص‌ترین آثارمون مربوط به سفال دوره ایلخانی هستش، چون دوره ایلخانی عصر طلایی سفال نامیده میشه. به خاطر همین تکنیک هایی که تو اون دوره کار شده خیلی متنوع هستش و ما از انواع تکنیک های سفالی که تو اون دوره کار شده تو موزه‌مون موجود هست.
While Ilkhanate pottery and the techniques used during that era are of great significance, I would be doing injustice to Iranian architecture if I don't mention right here how using the same techniques helped produce some of the most amazing ceramics that later became the prominent element of Azeri-style architecture. So try to look beyond these artifacts and keep their peculiar blue color in mind.
Maragheh is also known for its great number of poets. One of them, which is the most important one, is Sheikh Ruknuddin Ohadi Maragheh, who dates back to the Ilkhanate era, and his tomb is right behind me.
One of the most prominent sites to visit in Maragheh is the monument built in honor of the great poet. For my foreign guest, who was discovering the city along with me, it was amazing to see how much importance the residents of Maragheh attached to literature. However, it didn't come as a surprise. Persian literature does have a great reputation worldwide.
With Persian literature, we always hear about the great poets like Ferdowsi or Hafez or Sadi, but there are so many other poets for us to research and visit, such as Ohadi.
Ruknuddin Ohadi Maraghehi was a well-known poet and mystic of the 13th century. He lived during the reign of the Ilkhanate dynasty, a time known as the golden years of Maragheh, when another well-known scientist and astronomer called Khwaja Nasiruddin Tusi had just arrived in the city seeking to establish a major research center to extend his studies.
Now, in order to extend his studies, Khwaja Nasiruddin Tusi needed more accurate equipment and more resources. So he asked the king of the time, Hulaku Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, to provide him with what he needed. And this observatory is the result. It also turned Maragheh into a hub for sciences.
Maragheh's observatory by far is the most important historical site in the city, which Maragheh is actually famous for even today. Not much remains of the actual building, and the dome-shaped structure that you see was built recently to protect what remains from the original site.
وجود رصدخانه مراغه فقط به معنای رصد کردن آسمان و افلاک نیست. رصدخانه مراغه رو از کالج شهر تبدیل میکنه به یک شهر یونیورسیته. این یعنی چی؟ مراغه تمام شهرش تبدیل میشه به یک دانشگاه.
It's fascinating to think that 800 years ago this would have been one of the leading centers of technology in the world, and to put it into modern day perspective, this would have been the equivalent of NASA.
They say the library of the observatory contained 40,000 books on many subjects related to astronomy as well as other topics. Many scientists of the time took residence close to the observatory in order to use the library for their studies. A number of prominent astronomers came here and worked with Tusi as he studied his planetary models. The results of his studies were popular until the 15th century, with many Western astronomers citing him. Maragheh managed to surprise me every step of the way as I passed through its streets and back alleys. But I came to the conclusion that nothing compares to its beautiful night scenes as I took a walk by the river after a long day of touring the city. The surrounding buildings and the lights lining the riverbank created a breathtaking scenery that left me at awe. Sumisha Ahmadi for Iran.